man. They're out there defending No Lights. They're defending him, saying, "Yo, no, no." And you know what? There's a part of me that kind of gets it. Like, of course, we've got the powers that should have never have been, the dominant sort of culture. They're doing things, and they've historically done things. COINTELPRO, etc., etc. They're doing it right now by having some of these people free on the streets, able to be on YouTube talking the most hateful, filthiest shit. But they're allowed to flourish and survive and have huge followings and all these kind of things, all this kind of stuff. And people who are actually trying to bring forth proper knowledge and information and stuff, that you get shadow banned, you get blocked, you get warned for saying, "Oh, well, that goes against the community guidelines." And you're like, "Well, wait a minute, I'm not screaming and shouting and cursing at people and all this kind of stuff. How are they able to do this? But we ain't, man." There's a propaganda machine and an agenda that's going on. And as I say, these new boots, that, yo, brother Polite, that he was doing the right thing, man. He was trying to do, oh my God, my horror car. They're getting Sarnet has done, man. The plastic fork has you don't even need the plastic fork anymore. Sarnet is more than done. He's burnt. He's inedible at this point. He's past Cajun. He's done.
And look, it's in 25 hours, so that's tomorrow. So again, he ain't learned. That's like we was telling with Dr. York. People want to argue about this because he wore the mask of fake "I'm for black people," and he went down. When you look at what he went down for, it was for what? Money structuring and sex crimes against children. Okay. Now, when you look at the teachings and all the stuff that then flowed from that camp since he been in jail. It's the stuff I was talking about, the homosexuals, hermaphrodites having sex in a ritual with a little child in the middle, a golden child. All this stuff I presented. This the teachings. So if you look at what he went down for and the teachings that came out after and before, just like I told on Queen Stones, I got 2 audios of him teaching that Amun-Ra priesthood in ancient Kemet around the time of Akhenaten, the pharaohs was in order to pass his blessings and spiritual power to the priest, his wife would have to do fellatio to get the priest erect, the pharaoh erect, and the priest will come in there and lift up their robes and basically sit on the pharaoh until he ejaculate, and they supposed to get some kind of secret power from the pharaoh. But that wasn't number homosexuality. But again, number 2 is nowhere no proof of that on record. So, but he's teaching that, and he taught that if he's on in the audio, he'll tell you that I ain't gonna open up ancient Egypt to y'all. Y'all ain't ready for that. But you was doing that stuff in the name of Kemet, and that's why he was have his inner crew was molesting these children and using York's false teaching and corrupted visualization and interpretation to commit these crimes. York went to jail for something totally different. And then people like me was like, yeah, well, he taught this and taught that. And I couldn't produce no evidence. Then it makes sense to argue that. But you can't argue these facts when they are facts. And York is teaching it. You see? So, but son, from 50 Frank is following. And the evidence is, again, like with York, look at what he's doing and look at the people around him and the people he keep bringing around him, and they all have some sort of sexual misconduct on them, and he keeps bringing it up. But now if he go to jail and then people start talking about Sarnetta, well, Sarnetta, he had a platform that had sexual divas on it.
Yes.
It's the same thing as what York. You can bring the fact we doing it now. We don't have to wait till something's going to happen. So all of this been going on. It's just now it done turned into just deviant sex. And that's all they talking about. You know, Unc come over there and do his usual stuff about science. They not really paying attention to that. He have other stragglers come in and that. You know, Ali Muhammad, he brought him back after he was a super scammer back in the early 2000s.
Well, you know what though, sibling? I actually, even though I'm obviously finding out obviously new information, etc., and obviously a lot of the more science information is a bit, you know, flaky. But I really used to enjoy listening to Dr. Ali Muhammad do his thing still. I still think he's an articulate, intelligent brother, but reference, you know, these Moorish little codes that they tried, you know, that they'd try and sell to each other, and this uniform, was it UCC?
That's it. The Uniform Commercial Code.
Birth certificates and cashing that in and all this thing, like you know. Why don't we work and be successful from the sweat of our brow, and if not from the physical sweat of our brow, from the intelligence, bringing forth, you know, useful information, books, and if you know, like all this other stuff.
Because we can't, because of the new forces have to be the height and volume have to be reduced. And a separation must occur, and a war must happen as well. We're in the time of Armageddon, like some of the Bible says, and even the nature books and other people's traditions predict this. So it has to be punishment. So you got a lot of these wrongdoers running around, and they ain't been punished yet. See, they got to be punished and removed, so the real people can move forward without these people. We've been trying to do this with all these wrongdoers in our midst, from Marcus Garvey on down, just starting from that point. And we all have gotten nowhere fast because we still stuck. And what people like Sonettum do in York and all of them is they run the clock down, making the youth older, and they got stuck because they couldn't do anything, and they keep creating more dummies to make it more harder for you to do anything. Like SETI and people like them, they grew old on YouTube. They couldn't get out there and do nothing in the streets because you got all these big mega churches, all these other organizations that are nefarious, and they're doing things behind the scenes, whether it's the government or some subversion of it, or some crazy elites overseas in they dungeons coming up with stuff. All of these folks got to be removed because they are too big. These are behemoths. Yeah. These are leviathans themselves that you can't do anything significant because of the power that they wield. So going through the politics ain't gonna work. You're gonna get blocked at a certain point. And if you want to play the game, you have to now become into their circle, whether it's Republican, Democrat, or whatever. These people are witches and warlocks, and they're in the child sex trafficking and blood drink. These folks will do whatever it takes to make sure their lifestyle exists, and they trying to take us out. Those powers have to be eliminated, and then you have a true start over. You can't do it with all these cats because they all become vampires in Brooklyn, all over the place. Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, all these are old vampires.
Yes.
So they just brought up new people like Boyce Watkins. All these people come from them. Tariq Nasheed, all of these people come from these. I like it in America. I don't want to really go overseas. I don't want to really do no real work. And name the ones, like you said, the negative forces funnel these people with opportunities and money. Billy Carson, he don't care about black people. He want to be accepted by his Asian wife people and the culture. He's over there with them. He's not going to turn on them for people. That's the whole point of paying all these black people millions of dollars, whether it's in sports or music, whatever. They're not going to turn on them. Look, they don't have no race pride. So when you see them in the basketball and these dudes, oh yeah, you're getting drafted and you're getting, $300 million, for 10 years. You see how they be hugging
Yeah.
all that to be like that's their friend, that's their best friend.
Yeah.
They'll never turn on them for me and you. They don't care. And Sarnetta's the same way. He's not African. All right? Queen's Throne put up a video when he was on Queen's Flip, which is Cameron and Jim Jones' homeboy, right? He do a lot of crazy skits and stuff on his YouTube. And they asked him about his father, and he you ought to see how he looks. He was looking so apprehensive. He was like, I didn't really know my father. I just know he was Dominican. That's it. You are what your father is, and he don't have no kinky hair, and he been making black people fight against each other for about 20 years. He don't have no Dominican people over there. You don't have them debating each other. He ain't over there messing with the Dominicans and the Spanish and all them people that's a part of his haplogroup. Because guess what? Let him go over there and start talking ish about the Catholic Church or some part of the Dominican Republic's religion. They're gonna be right on TV with the Santeria and the voodoo dolls, and he's gonna be dead. He'll be dead in 2 weeks. So, but the Negroes, he'll stay right there and cause all of these problems with our race. And these dummies who saying they so pro-black, so African, weak-minded slaves, and he used that against them. So that's my biggest problem against him. It ain't just because he have the Wapians over there. It's because he's not a member of our race. He's a part of our race because his mother was African American, as he say. But he don't have the kink. So he don't abuse his power. Again, if Sarnetta was another color, they would be on him like they should. They again, same thing with Thomas Sotomayor. They gave him the business, but because he wasn't in the pro-black zone, he had a lot of people wasn't black who was supporting him, so we couldn't get rid of him. You got somebody that's in the hood who been talking about people's mothers, daughters, family members that are dead, all of this stuff, calling you a nigga. He ain't a nigga. As far as nigga being applied to African people, he's calling us that. And they don't see nothing wrong with that because they mentally dead. And that's why I keep saying that. Now, the thing with the sex still going on, because Judah Nazareth is now accusing, like since 2-3 weeks ago, on his live, that Nepal, he said they was real tight, that Nepal told him she lost her doula license as a midwife because she allegedly was touching children, and she lost her. This is what Judah Nazareth is saying. So
wasn't there a couple? Weren't there a couple at some point or something like that?
I don't know, but she definitely was messing around with a bunch of men from the Hebrew camps and sleeping around and taking pictures and sending selfies and all this stuff. And Sarnetta brought another sexually immoral person into the camp. See, it's the same pattern, right? So now you got her was trying to paint herself like she was clean and cute and pure, and that she really cared about the Bible, and you ain't black either. And that's another problem. We have to separate ourselves from these non-black African people that's in our lane, causing confusion. The Hebrew Israelites in the Bible and all that did not solve black people problems. All it did was kept us high and doped up through slavery, holding on, hoping, and waiting for the time when the real truth and facts will come. And that's noon. Noon is here. They just don't know it's here. But when you look at all of the problems, the Bible, the Quran, all these books prior to 1962, February 5th, have done nothing for us as a race. Now you can look at it in components and say, yeah, you know, TD Jakes, or you can find certain Christian families who got a couple of generations of wealth and they looking good and they got houses and cars and kids and went to school, but that ain't got nothing to do with our race as a whole. Those spirit forces hooked y'all up to make other black people feel like if I can be the best Christian or the best Muslim, that'll work for me. And that's the trick of religion. We have to give them back their versions of it and get the true information. And that's what's wrong with her. So Nepal is in the, and she ain't did no videos saying this ain't true. She ain't go up there at least for 5 minutes or play the clip and say, this is a lie. He's slandering me. She ain't done none of that.
Is she still with the Killer Peace, brother?
No, she went over there. Judah Nazareth allegedly said she went over there and got passed around between him and some other Wu-Tang Clan members and sent her back. Judah Nazareth said she took more than $6,000 because Sarnetta went under somewhere, I think, in the chat and said that when she left him the months ago, she took $6,000 that's supposed to have been dealing with something with Jabari and some other debate with Judah. Yeah. But Judah Nazareth said she took thousands of dollars more when she went over there, and he said it was pictures of her she put up when she was in Cali on the beach and taking pictures and all. She was over there living good off of the money he raised for the bait she took. And he said out of his own mouth she took the money from him, and then he let her back after that. And then she was on a clip, I think, that Sister Nanny was playing, where she said when she went on Judah Nazareth's panel, the same guy that's calling her all these names and said that Sarnetta lying on her, talking about she took money, she didn't take money. Then she said that Sarnetta did something where her mother is 80-some years old, paying chargeback fees for something that she's supposed to do business with Sarnetta, and he did something with the transaction. Now her mother got to pay chargeback fees. So it's all this mess going on with money and sex and deviancy.
Sloppy. I mean, come on, man. What kind of grown adults, never mind young children, could put their damn iPhones on and start talking their personal business about, oh yeah, my brethren did this, and yeah, man, they messed my credit up, and now my mom's gotta pay. Who does that, man? Who is that? Who is that helping? Who's that uplifting? Is that showing you to? Is that like, okay, look at my life and how stupid I'm doing things. Don't do what I'm doing. Is this like a warning for us or some shit? It don't make no sense.
And that's just, again, this is just what's been happening the last couple of months. You know, besides losing subscribers, he done created a new joint called the Cam Up Podcast. It doesn't matter.
The what?
Cam Up Podcast. Yeah, because he's so afraid of people being around, taking what he's saying and bringing it back over here or whatever. He want to have people's face seen. It doesn't change no matter, because if a person gonna turn on you or they see something you doing wrong and they go somewhere else, you having a picture, it's not gonna stop what you've done, because he's been playing this game of deflection. I'm gonna put up a picture, and hopefully when I yell fire, they gonna look at the picture and think it's a fire and leave and lose sight of what I'm doing. It doesn't help change anything. And Sister Nandy said that, according to what Shaka was telling me, is that she got his pages being investigated by the FBI for scams and everything connected to that. So if that's true, hasn't been made aware that you being under investigation because of this stuff with Polite. And Polite, when he go to trial, all that stuff was going to come out, because Sarnetta was again by Akeisha Shabazz, the lawyer. We got the clip. She said that she's seen a lot of transactions with Polite robbing other people, scamming. Sarnetta was also involved in these transactions. So she said that she's going to make sure the FBI get a hold of these videos, and she probably done sent that stuff out. You know how the FBI do? They take a while before they come through. And when they come through, they're going to have an airtight situation. So Frankie knows he's in trouble, and all of his people is into talking about rape. They can't stop talking about it. He done admitted that he been in contact with Polite all this time. Garfield even admitted on the clip I put in, right, that I warned y'all that he texted Polite when he went to court before they gave him the July 7th. So that means Garfield got Polite number all this time. Y'all ain't said nothing. Then the star came out that Garfield was scam somebody he know, and Sarnetta begged him not to put the people on Garfield. and that was 6 years ago. So all of this shows you that Garfield is a scammer, and Sarnetta protected him, but only after him and Garfield got to this point, all of a sudden Star wants to tell a story about Garfield scamming somebody and Sarnetta stopped him. The only thing Star did by doing that, it didn't make Sarnetta look good. It had the opposite effect. It shows that Sarnetta is knowing these dudes are fleecing what? Black people. You don't hear about none of these Negroes doing nothing to Dominicans. Why you ain't scamming Dominicans? Because the Dominicans gonna go to the Santeria and they gonna make sure you be dead in 2 weeks. That's why he ain't gonna scam nobody that's not black. Black people have allowed themselves, African kinky head people, woolly head people, have allowed themselves to be sedated and punked by somebody who lives in an apartment in Harlem, who's been threatening and corrupting the information that was being brought all this time. He is an agent of negativity and sexual deviancy. Whether he works for the government or not, he works for the spiritual evil government that's against our race of people. These are facts.
I couldn't have put that any better, sibling. I could not have put that any better. Apartment. Listen, all of the wickedness, and you're living in a place with bars over your damn windows, pushing damn big machine Mercedes, leased Mercedes. You can't go take your ass out and your family out and go buy it and go lease. Well, because I know Americans don't necessarily buy homes, but lease a better place. What are we doing? Huh?
He done made mad money.
Holy money.
He done made a bunch of money, but then when Polite came, Polite made millions off of that thing with Kemet.
Yeah. Yes.
He made millions off of that, and that's how Polite was able to get up out of Dodge, and he been messed up ever since. But trust me, had he was able to get that money and Polite split it with him, he probably wouldn't have left New York. He probably would have went further out of the hood though, but still stayed there because he has the mind of a block hustler. He can't think outside the block. No, this is like it was. He was just like the dude on what's that movie? When they redid Shaft with Samuel Jackson with the Spanish guy named Peoples, and he told people that he need to stay on the block because he was trying to get outside his zone with that rich white boy that committed that crime, and when he killed that. But remember, he hit your boy with some type of thing outside the club, Mekhi Phifer club with the white girl, and he got mad and went outside and smoked a cigarette when he got into it, and he hit him in the head, and he started hanging with him. So that's his peoples in the Shaft remake, and he tried to go outside his hustler's zone and end up in the problems, in the predicament that he has. A light is going down, and he's going to take Sarnetta and them with him, and as soon as it becomes clear that to go, everybody else that he has on, because he said everybody knows. Why are you recording phone calls? You understand? And why are you keeping records on people in the community? This is agent activity in itself.
But a hint to the wise should be more than sufficient, right? So as we can go back to, let's say, what we're in now. We're in the Gregorian year of 2023. The majority of this real suspicious behavior, the zenith, in my opinion, would be around the 2014 to 15 mark. That's when it was kind of like, wait a minute, man, you're saying way too much here, man. And I'm listening to you. I'm not just hearing what you're saying. I'm actually listening to what you're saying. And like if I'm doing that, surely other people will be listening. So I haven't been subscribed to Sarnetta Studios, House of Consciousness, whatever the university thing. I haven't been subscribed to none of them things for years. Because after a certain point, and this is again this is to the listeners and the siblings. Then you, everything has its reason and its season. What are you getting out of watching? Taking your hard-earned time to go watch this content. What are you getting from it? Rape, flipping debates. What are we talking about?
That's been the primary thing over there. Is rape talk. You know, type of instances. I mean, it's not even instances. Some of them are like quotes, but the Dina story and how she got raped by a Canaanite or whatever, and then the brothers didn't like it, and they heard about it, and then they got some quotes in Leviticus that, you know, you find a man with somebody, blah blah blah, he gotta, you know, pay the fall and he gotta marry and can't divorce. You got little things like that. So it's like it's different verses. It's not that many verses on it. Keep making it because that's what they don't realize, that his sexual preferences and what and that on Inky show 2 years ago. And all of a sudden, before he didn't know who Nikki was, then next thing you know who she was, he know where her people's at, then he goes and get a phone call and then get live. But hello, who? He said, who is this? It's like, Nikki. I'm like, oh snap. And she was saying it in a sexual type of tone. Like, what up, boo? We ain't talked in a long time. That's how that was. Then he said, Ben is saying that me and you was messing around when I was 33 years old. You would expect her to say, she said, oh, just trying to get fame and offer you. She didn't deny it. By the time Dummy realized that she didn't say what it sounded like when he first recorded the conversation with her, he stopped the phone call and act like he was hanging with her and be like, yeah, that's enough. I ain't gonna get y'all enough. But guess what he implicated was on the phone call? Captain Tazaria. Why you always got this man around doing filthy business? Because Cap is his other ace boon coon. So Tazaria is also in the cut, just Garfield and whoever else. So it's a matter of time when the positive force of nature throw that lightning bolt down there, and that flash of lightning gonna show all the darkness being exposed and who's in the dark hiding. And again, birds of a feather flock together. These people know these things. Tazaria, all these people, Zion Lex, study the books. They know that this stuff that they claiming have consequences, but they appear to not care. And we've seen this before. People wield the Bible, the Quran, the Vedas, whatever religious tool or tradition, they'll wield it like it was damn Luke Skywalker in his prime. But then when it's time to go down, they get, you know, they just fall on their own lightsaber. They out of here because they was false.
Yes,
they were false.
Sibling, I'm having a bit of technicals on my end at the moment, so we're gonna definitely have to come back for a part 2 to finish this off here. But this has been a very interesting update, man. It's been an interesting yet troubling update. I'm very much looking forward to encapsulating this build, man. I'll make sure I get this out very quickly. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Make sure you follow the links. I'll put Tar's YouTube channel link in the description. Make sure you check out the extensive catalog of some very well put together videos. Much appreciated, sibling, man. We'll be getting back on this here real soon. You heard?
What was Apophis the god of? In ancient Egyptian mythology, Apophis was a malevolent deity or demon often depicted as a giant serpent or snake. He was considered to be the embodiment of chaos, destruction, and darkness, and was believed to be the enemy of the gods and the pharaoh.